we're going to be diving into something a little bit different from my usual vlog of like studying and academics. Today we'll be trying out coffee making. Just a twist. I don't really drink coffee, so today's going to be a unique experience. So before we move on to the process of coffee making using the coffee maker, let us dive into the brief history of coffee making. One day, around 850 CE, a goatherd named Caldi observed that, after nibbling on some berries, his goats started acting abnormally. Caldi tried them himself, and soon enough he was just as hyper. This was humanity's first run-in with coffee, or so the story goes. When exactly people began consuming coffee isn't clear, but at some point before the 1400s, it's what's now Ethiopia, people began foraging for wild coffee in the forest undergrowth. The reason coffee plants are equipped with lots of caffeine might be because it makes them unattractive to herbivores or more attractive to pollinators. But either way, people caught on to coffee's advantages and began making tea from its leaves, combining its berries with butter and salt for a sustaining snack, and drying, roasting, and simmering its cherries into an energizing elixir. Coffee rode trade routes into the Middle East, and its widespread popularity began brewing in earnest in the 1450s. Upon returning from a visit to Ethiopia, a Sufi leader recommended that worshippers in Yemen use coffee during ritual chants and dances. Soon enough, people within the Ottoman Empire began roasting and grinding the beans to yield a darker, bolder beverage. Many gathered in guest houses and outside mosques to partake in coffee's comforts. But authorities grew concerned about whether coffee's influence was innocent or intoxicating, and if Muslims should be allowed to drink it. Indeed, in 1511, a religious court in Mecca put coffee on trial. Scholars finally deemed it permissible, so coffee houses sprang up in Damascus, Istanbul, and beyond, where clientele could sip coffee, smoke, and enjoy a variety of entertainment. By the late 1500s, people in Yemen were farming coffee and exporting it from the port of Al-Makka, which became known in other parts of the world as mocha. But coffee was eventually transported or smuggled into India and soon took root in Java and beyond. Meanwhile, the Ottoman Empire introduced a stimulating substance to Europe. Central London's first coffee houses opened in the 1650s. By 1663, there were more than 80, and despite King Charles II's attempt to ban them in 1675, coffee houses kept simmering as social and intellectual hotbeds. In 1679, for instance, patrons of Garraway's coffee house had the pleasure of watching Robert Hooke, the scientist who coined the term cell, publicly dissect a porpoise. In France, people began mixing coffee with milk and sugar. And throughout the 1700s, Paris's coffee houses hosted Enlightenment figures like Diderot and Voltaire, who allegedly drank 50 cups of coffee a day. Granted, these were likely small servings of comparatively weak coffee, but still impressive. Meanwhile, European empires began profiting off coffee growing, establishing enslaved or exploited workforces in Asia, Latin America, and the Caribbean. As cultivation boomed in Latin America, fueled by slavery, growers displaced indigenous populations and burned forests to establish ever-expanding plantations. By 1906, Brazil was exporting over 80% of the world's coffee. That same year, the Milan's World Fair showcased the first commercial espresso machine, and alongside the development of industrial roasting, came various coffee brands. By the mid-1950s, about 60% of U.S. factories incorporated coffee breaks. As African countries cut colonial ties, many ramped up coffee production, and coffee drinking also later made inroads in East Asia, especially as canned, pre-prepared beverages. In more recent decades, specialty coffees with an emphasis on quality beans and brewing methods grew popular and propelled farms in Central America and East Africa. Yet coffee workers worldwide continued to endure inhumane conditions and insufficient compensation. Now, this motivated certification efforts for coffee production that met ethical standards, including minimum wage and sustainable farming. But issues still loom over the industry. And because of climate change, the equatorial bean belt where coffee thrives is projected to shrink in upcoming decades. It's unclear exactly what this might look like, but scientists are investigating possibilities like resilient coffee hybrids that might help weather the unpredictable future, all to protect the beverage that becomes a cherished part of daily rituals worldwide. So I'll be testing out our slightly aged Hanabishi drip coffee maker. So we'll find out if it still works like a charm after all these years of being unused. Since this is an old coffee maker, I won't be showing you any unboxing, but I'll be giving you details on pros and cons of this drip coffee maker, and let's see if it is convenient for you to use as well. Alright, so now let's talk about this coffee maker we have right here. So I chose this one because again, it's been sitting around our shelf and for quite a while, and I figured why not use it if it still holds up well. So plus, Hanabishi is a well-known brand here in the Philippines, so it's worth seeing if their appliances can actually stand the test of time. So recognized for its long-standing reputation in producing budget-friendly and reliable appliances. So they offer a wide range of products from kitchen essentials like rice cookers, coffee makers like this, to larger household appliances such as electric fans, as well as ovens and air conditioners. So many Filipino households trust Hanabishi for its durability as well as affordability, so making it one of the go-to choices for practical and cost-effective home solutions. This model has a glass carafe. It also has a warming plate to keep your coffee hot and a reusable filter inside of here, which you can use all the time, so you don't need to keep buying paper filters, which saves a lot of money. It also has a simple on and off switch right here with no fancy buttons, so it's very straightforward coffee making. Capacity wise, it can brew about 4 to 6 cups, which is pretty good for personal use or small households just like mine. For its power consumption, it's pretty efficient at around 600 watts, so it won't drain too much electricity. So if you're the type of person who wants to save up on your electricity bills, this coffee maker is a very great option for you to buy. Now let's put this coffee maker to the test. So the first thing I need to do is to clean this one out since it has been sitting on our shelf for quite a long time collecting dust. So I'll be right back and then I'll show you how to make it. So now we will move on to the steps and how to make coffee using the drip coffee maker. Step 1, we fill the water reservoir. So it's recommended that we actually use clean or filtered water as opposed to tap water, because they say that tap water has too many minerals which can actually affect the taste. So this coffee maker actually has a clear water level indicator for you to easily see how much water you need to use or specific measurements you want to use for the coffee you want to make. So I'm going to add the water, the clean water, mineral water to be precise, to this boiler or the water reservoir. Already filled it out here at level 4. Now since I don't actually drink coffee, I asked around from my friends, and they told me to get some medium roast grounds, which apparently is a good middle ground of flavor, since it's not too bitter, it's also not too strong, especially for beginners or like people like me who don't actually drink coffee. So it's a better option compared to other ones. So now I'm going to open the filter basket right here and dunk in the coffee grounds that we have right here. I'll first open this filter basket inside of here before I add the ground coffee. So I'm going to show you the inside of the filter basket right here. It actually has a cute cup you can use to measure the ground coffee you want to add. And here is the filter basket we have right here. I'm going to close the lid and then I'm going to turn on the switch for this coffee maker, and then we'll see after 5 minutes how it's going to turn out. So if you can see right here, there's actually water going up from the water reservoir up towards this tube, white tube right here, and then towards this line right here, which goes into the filter basket, which contains the coffee grounds. Now we move on towards below. We can see that the water is actually dripping towards the glass carafe. You can actually, if you can see here, there's coffee dripping down from the filter basket towards the glass carafe, filling up the container. It hasn't actually been 5 minutes yet. I think it's 2 minutes in, and then it's working perfectly fine right here. Now 5 minutes is up, so I'm gonna turn this off and we are going to taste test the coffee that we made. So this is the first coffee that I have made, so we're going to test it out, and I'm gonna bring my brother with me since he's an expert in coffee. So as you can see, the glass carafe, it's still intact without any breakages. The warm plate does so well in keeping the glass carafe or the water in the coffee inside the glass carafe warm, and the filter basket also does its job well, as well as the water reservoir. So pretty much amazing for a coffee maker that has just been unused for a few years. So I'm just gonna give you a close up on the coffee that we made. So now I'm gonna do a sniff test on the coffee that we made. Let's see. The aroma is actually really good, and right now we're going to taste it. I'm gonna bring my brother in and see if this coffee that we made actually tastes good. So this is my brother Kyron. Say hi to the camera.
Hi.
So he's gonna take a drink of the coffee that I make and make some comments about it and see if the coffee maker that we use actually works, and the coffee tastes great.
Not bad. Could be smoother, but it does the job. I like how it's not super creamy and I can taste the coffee. It's good.
So overall, the coffee tastes nice. So maybe one of you coffee lovers can tell me what I should be looking for in the taste in the comment sections down below. So now let's break it down to the pros and cons of the coffee maker that we use. First is the pros. So it's actually simple and very easy to use, as you can see from the steps that I showed you. You can actually just click the on and off switch, fill the water reservoir, and then just place the coffee grounds on the filter basket, and then place the glass carafe and then wait for it to boil and be done. It's also affordable and reliable. Even if a lot of time has passed, the coffee maker has just been sitting on our shelf. It did not show any signs of like damage or being worn down. It's actually a very great model. Next is its reusable filter, which is actually a great component of the coffee maker, because you don't need to use disposable ones or paper filters to buy, so it's a great purchase. Next is it is compact and doesn't actually take up much space, since it's just a small and coffee makers. Next is it keeps the coffee warm with its heating plate. So I really don't have any issues regarding its how warm it is. It's a very great appliance. Now let's move on to the cons. One issue I have with it is it doesn't actually have any automatic shut off component, so you have to manually turn off the switch so that coffee maker stops working. So I think for people like me who are always on the go, you have to keep track of the time just so you can turn it off. Unlike current models we have right now, where they automatically shut off after 5 minutes or a certain amount of time is done for boiling the water and making the coffee. The second and last con that I observed was that the glass carafe, it was a little thin, so you actually have to handle it with care because it's very fragile and easily breakable. You have to really handle it with care. So overall, the Hanabishi drip coffee maker is a very solid choice for casual coffee drinkers who actually want something that is fuss-free and very much convenient. So final verdict. So for a simple no-frills coffee maker, the Hanabishi does its job well. So it's budget-friendly, very easy to use, and still runs great even after it has not been used for a couple of years, which is a very great quality of the coffee maker, of the appliance. Next, so if you're someone who loves fancy espresso drinks, this probably isn't for you since it's a very straightforward coffee maker. But for everyday coffee needs, it works just fine. To wrap it all up, the Hanabishi coffee maker is a simple yet reliable appliance for everyday coffee drinkers. So if you're a everyday coffee drinker, then I really recommend the coffee maker. Next is it's very much affordable, it's easy to use, and it's also very much practical for small households. So if you're looking for an entry-level coffee machine or coffee maker that won't break your bank, then this is definitely worth considering. Now that's it for our video. So if you enjoyed this vlog, make sure to like, to comment, and to subscribe to my channel. And if you're a coffee expert, you can drop some tips below. And thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. Thank you.